Welcome back, everybody, to the Quarter Century Soldier. I am Felix Black, and today we are talking about the year 2015 in our mini series about me as a 25-year veteran of the United States Army. So if you remember from yesterday, our previous episode, 2014, I was fighting to become an instructor down in San Antonio, Texas, which is where we do our advanced individual training once you leave basic. And now it's time for you to learn your job. Okay. Why do I want to do that? Coming into 2015. Why do I want to do that? Because now it's time for me to kind of get promoted, and I'm looking for a promotion. And this is where most of our promotions come from, because it is very high op tempo. And once we get into the year 2015 and up to 2018, you'll understand why. It is very, it is where a lot of our promotions come from. Usually we probably promote around 15 to 20 people a year. And about 11 to 12 of those come from the schoolhouse, as we call it, the schoolhouse. Okay. So that's why I wanted to drop that identifier that's keeping me in the research center where I'm killing it right now, and come down to Texas, San Antonio. Okay. So we're rolling into 2015. Like I said yesterday, I have dropped the identifier. So now I'm free to come down to San Antonio and to teach. Okay. So on the way out, I am not scheduled to get to San Antonio until 10 May 2015. So in that time, I have to sell my house and I have to buy another one. So I'm traveling between the two. I came down here in like April because I wanted to see, I was looking at houses from a distance, and then I was like, hey, I'm going to go see these 4. Came down here, looked at them, purchased one, went back, and ended up leaving. Okay. We had a nice going away. I got a full on oar because this is a joint unit. So it's Army, Navy, Air Force. So I got a full oar, like a paddle, as a going away gift from there. And I got a signed picture. Everyone signed it, man. So, that's how I could tell, like, I did a really good job there. Everybody was really rocking with me. And I was rocking with the people that was there. So it was a really good vibe there. It was a really good work environment. Me and my boss were on the same page for like 99% of the things that was happening. He was leaving too to take another job. And so once things are so great with one boss, I'm a person, I don't want someone else to come in and just blow all of that shit up, because I have to readjust. So once he's on his way out, I'm on my way out. I've been here for 4 years, which is more than enough time. Been here for 4 years, more than enough time. So we had a really nice going away function. And I think I had 2 of them because I worked at AFRI, but we also worked with the medical school too. So it was kind of like 2 different sets of people. So it was really good. And that's where I learned my Wayne Dyer quote, right? How people treat you is their karma. How you react to that treatment is yours, right? And so that kind of summarizes me, because I feel like people always fucking coming for my neck. I have an air of confidence, an air of arrogance, whether you want, whatever word you want to pick, right? And the problem with that is people are going to look for chinks in your armor, right? When you walk around like you're the shit, people are naturally going to be like, okay, well, you think you are, huh? So let me see if you really are. Oh, you made a mistake here. Oh, you made a mistake here. And that's where people get it messed up. Having confidence is not saying that I'm perfect. It's just saying I'm good at what I do. I know that what I'm putting out is a good product, regardless of what industry I'm in, whether I'm in research, whether I'm playing sports, whether I'm in production. You know what I'm saying? Like, The product that I'm putting out is good. My knowledge is good. I'm making good informed decisions. It's not perfect, but I'm trying to take care of everyone. I'm trying to make sure everyone eats, everyone is benefiting. I'm not just here stepping on the shoulders of people trying to look good. And so people have a problem with that. People really want you to be, they call it humble, but people like when you have self-doubt. When you, I really don't know. I'm unsure. Like, no, if I know that I'm good, and I'm going to say that. And it's not like I'm saying, hey, I'm great. Again, I just talked about aura. When you know, it just flows through you. You see what I'm saying? And so that's when people are just like, who's that? What's his story? What's going on with him type stuff. And so if no one can talk bad about you, that's a good thing. And I think that's where I was at. It was a good thing. So I said that, and I was just like, because I had to get to that point. Even though I was still doing a good job, there was still BS happening on the side. And there was always people that's waiting on you to trip up, right? So you're walking and you trip, and I got, you tripped. Like, yeah, if I'm taking like 10,000 steps a day, I'm bound to trip somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came from. And I was just like, how people treat you is their karma, and how you react to that treatment is yours. And so I've always believed that, because whether we want to say it or not, it is absolutely true. Sometimes color plays a factor. I'm not using the race card, but sometimes it plays a factor. And you have to be twice as good just to be on the same playing field as people. And again, I'm in the research field. So you're talking about people who went to Ivy League schools, or Georgia Techs, or places like that. And I didn't go to those places. I went to school online. I still got the same certification. The school is certified and all that type of stuff, but it doesn't hold the prestige of an MIT or a Stanford. I don't give a fuck. I had to put in the same work. You know what I'm saying? So people look for those little things. And that's the problem with specifically research for me. And, damn near any science field. It's kind of like, oh, where'd you go to school? Like, my thing is, did you go to school? Are you like licensed to be doing what you're doing? Okay. There are Liberty colleges out there. There's different colleges that are not as well known as the University of Georgia, the University of Texas, the University of Florida, right? There's 5,300 colleges and universities in the United States, right? Everybody has a different level of accreditation, but everybody's accredited. And if they are an institute of higher learning. And so, again, we're working with the medical school. So those are med students. And to them, education is everything. Oh, I want to be a cardiologist. Oh, I want to be a neurobiologist. It's like, okay, cool, bro. Those are your goals. But just because that's not my goal does not make me any less of a person than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've achieved my goals, because you don't know what everyone's goal is. And so that's why you can't let people talk bad about the things you've accomplished. You know your story, you know where you came from, and you know what you wanted to do in life. Some people want to be cardiologists. Some people want to be HVAC technicians. There's no difference between the two. Society places a difference on the two. But if you are happy with what you're doing, if you came up from where you were yesterday, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you're making progress in your life, you should be happy with that. And so, again, like I've said the last couple of videos, I was cool in this time. I was straight, especially in the job. I knew what I was doing, so I was good. So I ended up, once I ended up dropping the identifier, I got the assignment to come down to San Antonio, 2015. I was like, hell yeah, I get to go to the schoolhouse. I'm gonna be teaching. Boom. So it was like, so you have to fill out this questionnaire about where you wanted to work. There's 3 sections. You have chemistry, you have hematology, blood bank, which is, together. Then you have microbiology. Those are the 3 areas of lab school. So it's like, we're down there for 6 months. So it's 2 months, 2 months, 2 months. That's your 6 months. And then you go to your clinicals around to any hospital, the different hospitals in the Army. So I'm a science guy. So I'm like microbiology, swerving plates, Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, bacteria, viruses, all that type of stuff. Cool. Let me get that. So on the questionnaire that they send me, they're like, where do you want to go? What are you, this is basically an intro thing. Into who you are and, your interests and stuff like that. That shit's just for show. I don't think they take any of that into account when they're choosing. I think it's which section needs somebody at that time, but they will send you that questionnaire just to make you feel good. But I didn't know this at the time. So I'm like, okay, boom, micro. I want to go to microbiology. I think that's dope. That was like one of my favorite sections when I was in school and when I worked at Kimbrough, right? When I worked in the regular lab. Second, what did I put second? I think second I put chemistry. Chemistry is like your glucose, your cholesterol, just like your regular chemical panels, your, kidney function, stuff like that, your uric acid, your stuff like that, chemistry panels. So those are all basically, if you have a high glucose, that could be indicative of diabetes type stuff. But they usually run a full panel, a chem panel, which can be anywhere from 10 to 12 tests. So chemistry, boom, that was second. Third was like hematology. So hematology are the study of red blood cells, red and white blood cells. So they're looking for parasites. When someone says they're anemic, they order a CBC, complete blood count. We're looking at the size of your red blood cells. Are they carrying enough oxygen? If you have an infection, your white blood cells will be, elevated. If you are a hemophiliac and you can't bleed or you can't stop bleeding, your platelets are not functioning properly. It's just a lot with hematology. So yeah, hematology was okay, but hematology is kind of boring. You don't really see much. You kind of see malaria here and there, but we're working in the United States and then we're working on military bases. So a lot of times you're not going to see anything out of the ordinary, right? You're not going to really see much. So that was hematology. That was number 3. And last on my list was blood bank. I did not want to go to blood bank because blood bank is basically, I need, units of blood. I'm O positive. What type of blood can I receive if I'm O positive and why? But I hadn't had any experience in it. So when I worked in that clinic up at Kimbrough, we didn't have blood bank. Like we just didn't have those capabilities. We were in urgent care, ambulatory care center. We were urgent care, so we didn't have those blood bank capabilities. People went to Walter Reed in DC for that if you needed a transfusion or something like that. So I was like, nah, fuck all that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all, right? Lo and behold, where do I go when I get down there? Motherfucking blood bank. After I fought so hard not to go there, that's where they send me. And I was like, dog, like, why would y'all do that? Right? You have somebody coming down there. I'm coming down there voluntarily. I'm telling you where I want to go. What does that mean when I tell you where I want to go? That's where I'm going to put the most effort. That's where I have the most interest. And if I say I don't want to go here, that means I have the least amount of interest in doing this job. So why would you send me to the one that I have the least amount of interest in doing? That's just the way the world works, right? Not always what you want. Sometimes it's what you need. So I'm like, okay. And the people who were working down there. So one of the instructors for Blood Bank, she was deployed with me. Like she was married, so her and her husband were deployed with me. So I think it might have been a name thing. I think once people start seeing names and people that they recognize, they might, this person's good. This person's good. I know him. I know her. I think. But the good part about it was we didn't have any juniors. The good thing about being an instructor, we didn't have any juniors. Everybody was, working. We were all mid-level to seniors, 6, 7s, 8s. So we were all ingrained in our careers, professionals, looking to get promoted. You know what I mean? So that was a really good atmosphere to be in, because we fellowshipped a lot. So we had a lot of conversations. We had a lot of just talks. The dude that was in charge of Blood Bank, me and him didn't get along. We were stationed together at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. This was around this was between 2008 and 2011. So we were stationed together. We didn't have beef, but it was kind of like, I don't fuck with him. Like, he's not my type of person. And it was mutual, right? He felt that way about me. I felt that way about him. So it was kind of like, damn, dog, like y'all gonna put me in this dude's section and like he's in charge of the section. Like, I'm not feeling that shit at all. I'm not. So it didn't get off to a good start, just because, one, I didn't want to fucking go there. And two, the person in charge of it is someone I just, you stay over there, do your thing. I stay over here, do my thing. We never crossed paths, but we knew who each other were from a previous duty station. And again, I was deployed with the female that was in the female that was in this section, right? So I knew her really well because she was one of the people that went to the Soldier of the Month board when we were overseas, and she won, right? So like I said, we was killing it. So as with any duty station, I go in there a little bit early and I meet everybody. We had one guy, we had the guy who was in charge of the section. He was a person who, he was always in, the field units. Like I was talking about, the units that went out to the field and stayed in the forest for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He was one of those. He liked that, right? So we had that person. Then we had, the female she was really good. She was really good, tech. She was really good as far as appearance. So she was a really good representative of a female soldier. Then we had the special forces guy who was elite as far as his Army ability, right? Like when I was talking earlier about Army University and looking the part, right? How they want you to look a certain way, go to certain schools, and you advance quick. He was one of those quick advancers because, he checked the blocks. He was on it, right? He was on it. You had me. I filled the seat as the intellectual, right? Because I had gone to school, got the bachelor's degree, got the master's degree, and I was in research, right? And again, we have a lot of recruits that come in as lab techs who have degrees already. So they have questions about research, what it's like. Is it something they want to do? Because you hear about it, but they didn't have anyone to talk to about it. And then we had another dude who was just really knowledgeable, right? Who was really good at like drawing and making the dots connect when explaining things. So the good thing about our section was we had, no matter what path you wanted to take, we had someone who had taken that path, right? We had someone who had, gone to the field, been that field soldier who just loved that. A person who went to research, who didn't like the field, who just wanted to do research and, chill and do bigger and better things, in my opinion. And then we had, just the woman who was a mixture of everybody. She kind of went she didn't do research, but she was in just the regular hospitals. And she was just a good role model for female soldiers and, for male soldiers too. And then we had the super smart guy that's just like, if somebody wasn't understanding something, bring this dude in and, he could probably get them to understand damn near anything, just because I think he had been there for a little while and, he was really smart. So that is something that no other section had. No other section had the full range of people. And at the end of the day, all of us had deployed. We all had deployment patches. And like I said before, it makes a difference, because when you want to start giving examples and you want to, when I was downrange, when I deployed, we all had that experience because we all did it, right? We all had the patches to verify that, and me and her were actually together downrange. Other sections didn't have that. Like, they had some people that did deploy. They had some people that didn't. You had a lot of people that were, when you deploy, this is what you're going to be doing. But it was like, motherfucker, you ain't never deployed. You ain't got no deployment patch on your shoulder. So how can you say that? You couldn't say that with us. So though I didn't want to go to the section, it ended up being a really good decision for the people who were there. It ended up being a good decision. I mean, I didn't make that decision, so I can't say I made the good decision. They made the good decision. And I fit in, just even though we had tension. We didn't have strife. We had tension. Because I said, I ain't fuck with you. You didn't fuck with me. All right. But how that showed itself was the course manager is the one that gives you your course, the one that you're going to be teaching, your very first one. Mind y'all, I said I have no experience. I've never done this before. So at the end of the day, I'm looking to get an easy course, right? Something to build upon so I can learn more. Just like college, where you have your 101 courses and you have your 201 courses, because we are an associate's degree producing program. We have 101, which are your basics, and we have 201, which are your advanced courses. So we have 101. 101 is for about, how long were they with us? Maybe for like a month and a half, a month and a month. So maybe for about a month. So about 2 weeks of 101 and then 2 weeks of 201. And then, that blood bank basically equates to immunology, right? If you're talking college courses. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a 101 course, like an introduction to blood bank, the basics, because I'm just like the students. I'm learning this too. And, when you're an instructor of anything, you have to learn it. Then you have to learn it. Then you have to learn it enough to teach it. And then you have to learn it enough to teach it to where someone understands it. And you have to understand it enough to where if I say it's this way, I don't understand. Okay. It's this way. Okay. I don't understand. Okay. It's this way. I still don't understand. So now you got to come up with different approaches, different analogies, different metaphors, different pictures to get the student to understand. I always had an 80% quota. I'm not going to get through to 100%. I'm trying. But no matter what you do, you're not going to get through to 100%. And our classes were Army and Navy, and they were roughly about 32 students. Well, it might have been like 64, but they were broken up into like 2 classes. So while I was teaching in one class, another instructor would be teaching the other half of the class. And you just, went back and forth through the different sides of the course. And so, again, I've never done anything like this before. I've never done blood bank. So I have to learn it. Then I have to learn it. And I have to learn it enough to teach it. Then I have to learn it enough for me to teach them and them understand it. And then you have to get to that creative space to where a person is not going to understand you just saying do it this way. You have to make up this grand metaphor, this grand story to where you have to get them to connect the dots. And if I still can't connect the dots with you on that, that's when I'll get another instructor and just be like, hey, explain this to this person, because it might just be me. Sometimes this is the instructor, right? And we have to accept that and understand that. And that is something that, I start to teach the newer instructors coming in later, is that you're not going to change the world. When we all get in there, we just, I'm going to be the greatest instructor ever, and everyone's going to pass the test, and, everyone's going to love me as an instructor, and they're going to understand what I'm saying the first time. Nah, bro. Nah. Nah. That shit is quickly deflated when, again, I teach a certain block and we get tested on that block, right? Like I said, we teach 2 halves. So I teach a block of I teach genetics to one side. When we have the test on genetics, the side that I taught fails genetics, right? But the last class I taught genetics to, that side only half failed. The class after that, I taught genetics and the whole class passed. So that will mess with you as an instructor. And it's easy to say like, hey, don't let that affect you. You put out the information the same way. There's only one way you could put the information out. It's who's receiving it. And so that is something you have to remind newer instructors of, because like I said, you get that new guy syndrome. The new guy syndrome is I'm coming in, I'm going to change the world and everyone's going to understand what I'm saying. No. So that's why I said 80%. If 80% understands, I believe you've achieved your goal. 80% is 8 out of 10. So if 2 people just are bewildered, hey, I got 8 motherfuckers that understand this. So is it me? Is it you? Is it a combination of the 2? Yeah. So being an instructor was on a different plane. It was a very good job. I loved being an instructor. I love teaching. It is very draining because I am an introvert. So it is very draining, right? So again, back to the class. I fucking went off on a tangent. So I'm getting my first class. I'm thinking I'm going to be in 101. He gives me a course in 201, which is a course that is built upon a class from 101. And I'm like, bro, why? Why would you give me this class? It's one of the harder fucking classes too. You know what I'm saying? Like even the other instructors were just like, oh, what class did he give you? And I was like, autoimmune diseases. And he was like, what? Like, what the fuck? like what? Like that class is not easy. Like what the fuck is that about? What is that about? I was like, I don't know. Like I don't know what I don't know. So, I know at this time that it's from 201 and I don't know that it builds upon another class because, I've never gone through the curriculums and stuff like that. He just gives me the class and just like, here's your class. You got to learn because you're going to be tested by your peers first. So when I'm talking to the other instructors there, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm learning a class like he gave me to learn. He was like, oh, so what's your first class? I'm like, autoimmune. I'm like, what? Autoimmune? Like, that fucking class is hard as hell. Like, even for me, and I've been here for like 6 months. And I'm like, I don't know. This is the one he gave me. Okay. So that's when you first get there. When you go to Ft.Sam Houston as an instructor, Ft.Sam Houston is a training post. Again, it's all advanced individual training for medical MOSs, radiology, pharmacy. What is it like? Is logistics, medical supply, medical maintenance, lab, physical therapy, like every job in the hospital, medical wise, we do AIT there. So one of the biggest things is they're trainees. We're permanent party. They're trainees. You don't fuck with the trainees, meaning no relationships, no giving them rides, no inappropriate relationships with them, right? So you go through what they call cadre training course. And cadre training course is just that. It's a course of, hey, you're cadre, you're instructors, you're the camp counselors, and these are the attendees. The trainees are here for training. They're not here to meet up with you on the weekend, and I'm here to get to know you. None of that shit. Okay? Nothing across social media, none of that type of shit. So that's what this course is dedicated to. It's like for a week. And it's just saying like what's off limits. Like, I don't care if there's they always make it a dude cadre in relation to a female trainee, right? But I don't care if it's a dude or if it's a woman on the side of the road in rain, sleet, snow, you don't pick them up type stuff. So it's basically just a warning course of just, these are the regulations, this is what they're able to do. So when you see, this phase badge, because in AIT, they're there for 6 months. Once they reach certain achievements, they can now go off base, and then they can go off base for one night. I don't think they could do 2 nights when I was there. They can go off base for one night, like to stay. Sometimes you have to go off there and you have to stay in your dress uniform. And sometimes they could be in civilian clothes. But it's for all the jobs, not just mine. So again, it's a huge training base, and there's thousands of trainees. So even if the trainee is from the radiology program, which I don't have any dealings with, right, I'm still going to get in trouble because that's a trainee. They're just saying, hey, be careful, because the Riverwalk is really big in San Antonio and everybody goes there. So you may run into somebody and you may not even know that they're a trainee. Just make sure you do your proper vetting, because you don't want to get in trouble. And that's very true. Like I've been in places, restaurants, downtown, and you fucking run into trainees and they're like, hey, no. Don't say nothing to me. Keep walking. Like, I don't want to engage at all. Okay. So cadre training course. That's what the first one you have to go to. Then you have to go to the instructor training course. So you have to get instructor qualified. Instructor training course is basically, it's almost about curriculum. If I can remember what instructor training course was. I remember we had a 30-minute demonstration and we had a 1-minute demonstration. And those were like the milestones for the course. We didn't teach anything. I think this is where they were trying to, get people to understand teaching styles. That's what we went over. We went over teaching styles and whether someone is a read-write, whether someone is a kinesthetic learner, Kinesthetic is the people who are hands-on. Like, what do you do for a kinesthetic learner if they're sitting and doing PowerPoints all day? Like, that person is going to be dying because, they're hands-on. A lot of people just like, I just kind of just learn by doing. And then you have people who are read writes, people who are writing everything down, and that's what they do. People who are audio, visual, and then mixtures of the two. I think at the end of the day, everybody's kinesthetic. Like, we learn by doing, but I like watching. You can tell me, okay, first you're gonna put the screw through the hole, and you're gonna turn it 3. I'm gonna forget that in 20 seconds. I'm not an audio learner. I'm visual and kinesthetic, right? I write notes, but I don't like write. When they talk about like read writes, they are writing. Like, they have a whole page of just notes. I might just write like some key ideas when I'm a fucking stomp or something like that. Like, remember this type stuff. So that's what Instructor Training Course was about. And then we started learning about personalities. One of the greatest things I've ever done was my Myers-Briggs test. I know we have the Zodiac. Oh, you're a Sagittarius, you're a Capricorn, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Like, Sagittarius, some of it's true, but a lot of it is just like, don't really hit. Some of that shit's not true about the way I feel about myself. But what we did is we had to take personality tests just so we can learn about ourselves, and then we can learn about students. It was so becoming an instructor is really good at helping you form your leadership style too, because I didn't know these personalities existed. There's 16 of them. I don't remember them all. I remember mine. But then I kind of know what the letters mean, so I could put them together. Myers-Briggs personalities test. And so mine, I'm an INTJ, right? Introverted. It's not sensing. What is the N in INTJ? I forgot what it is. I think J is like structure. Oh, N is like you're a dreamer. You think of possibilities instead of it being like, if you see a circle, you could be like, it could be a sun, the moon, where a person who was more finite would just be like, it's a circle. And then they don't like think of the possibilities. And then the T is I'm more rational and not feeling, because the other one is an F. I think it's, what is it? E-I-N. What's the other one? E-E-S. So sensing in technical, ESFP or something like that. I think it's, so I know my letters are introverted. The other one is extroverted. It's N and T. It's N and S. S is sensing. And I think that's where they're more finite, and I'm more like, ooh, the possibilities. I don't like to be boxed in. I'm a dreamer, right? So that's the dreamer in me. And then the third letter is either a T or an F. And I want to say F is feeling, and the T is rational. So you don't make decisions using emotion. You use rational thought to make decisions. And then J is like, you like structure. And I think the P is more just like, you go with the flow, and however things go is how they go, and you don't want to lock it down too much. So I'm an INTJ. That's the mastermind, the architect, the builder, right? The intellectual, right? The architect, like from the Matrix, is an INTJ. That's where you get the name, the architect. Like, we are structure builders. And reading about the INTJ personality, let me know so much about myself. And so if I am able to know a person's personality, Myers-Briggs, it is very telling because that is one of the most accurate things I've ever read about myself. So I'm assuming for others, it's usually accurate because it breaks down personally, professionally, romantically, how you view the world, how the world views you, whether you're the advocate, whether you're the leader, whether you're the counselor, you know what I'm saying? And so mine is the mastermind. So that's why I always take the villain arc. And so now I'm just like, why do I always like villains in movies? Why do I always, go that way with things? And so now I understand why. The INTJ is the villain in the movies. We have a thought of how to do something. And, we think that we're these high being thinkers, smarter than the rest. So I'm guilty as charged. I'm an INTJ through and through. But that's what the instructor trainer course was, is learning about different types of learning about yourself, and learning that there are other types of personalities out there. Right? We know that, but just kind of putting them into a group of this is how you can get through to them. And so it was really, really helpful. It was really nerve-wracking too, because if you go over that 30 seconds, if you go over that, was it 15 minutes and 30 minutes? I'm sorry if I said 30 seconds, my bad. 30 minutes and 15 minutes. You had to come up with something to do, whether it's how to cook an egg, how to, build miniature furniture, whatever it is, you chose it, but it couldn't go over those time requirements. And so that was how you tested out of the course. But a lot of it was just learning about you and learning about students, which is very helpful. Was very helpful personally and professionally. So now, I'm still trying to learn my course. I get through all of those courses just fine because they're not hard, but it's something that every instructor has to go through. So once you get to become an instructor, you can't be around students until you finish at least the cadre training course. And you don't really want to be around students because they're going to ask you questions and you don't know shit. Like, I just got here, so I don't know the lesson. I don't know any questions that you have. But, new guy syndrome, you want to get into the classroom, you want to start to teach. That's normal. So I'm still learning my course. And hold on, let me take a drink for this. So the process for finally teaching is what we call a murder board, right? It's a rite of passage. It is where you have to teach your coworkers the course, and they grill you. Like, we call it a murder board because murder, like kill you, because you get killed. You get killed in order to officially hit the podium for teaching. You can go through all of that other shit. You can go through all of those instructor training, cadre training, certification. If you don't get the go from your team, you don't teach, right? That's just the tradition. And so we call it a murder board because that's what it is. Now, you don't get to do it once. You get a lead up. So you go in there and you just do your introduction. So it's like, okay, I'm Felix Black. And so this is how you would teach to the students. Hey, this is my introduction. This is my first time meeting y'all. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Hey, I was in research before this. I have a master's degree, I have a bachelor's degree, whatever you want to tell them, right? Whatever you want to tell them. You can tell them about yourself professionally, personally. Some people, put pictures. I got a wife and kids. One motherfucker was like, I like to drink. We was like, hell no. Take that out. Are you nuts? Take that shit out of there, man. Because we get instructors in there, and this will be more in my second and third year. Because at this point, I'm not able to murder board anyone because I'm being murder boarded myself. So you have to be a tried and true instructor in order to be on a panel to murder board. So first you do like a 30-minute, you do like a 30-minute, you do like a intro. So you just do your intro and they give you feedback. Then you do like a 15-minute, then they give you feedback. So you do your intro and you go in to start teaching the course. Then you do like a 30-minute. After your 30, they set the schedule for your murder board because they want you to be on the podium soon, but they'll know early on if you are somebody who's going to need a bunch of practice or whether you can kind of get it and go. And then you have to teach in front of your senior course manager, which is the 8, and then the OIC, the officer in charge of the program. But usually she will come in once you're on your very first class with the students. So, the official hierarchy will come in when you're in your first class because they trust the course managers, your team, to get you to that point. And so when you're going through the murder board process, the murder board is it's kind of just one, but it's brutal. It's brutal because depending on how, I say we, because I love doing them. Depending on how we feel that day is how hard we're going to go at you. So if you're a person, like if you're stuttering Stanley, if you're unsure of yourself, we're coming at you. Like we are going to, we're going to dig into you. But if you come out with confidence and you're speaking, boom, boom, we'll go easy on you. But we want you to understand when you stand in front of students, a class of 32, and you're in there by yourself, you need to have the confidence to control the room, right? And not everybody has that. We'll get into that later because there's a lot of people that they don't pass the murder board process and they just go to work in admin or some shit like that because they can't teach. So I'm going through the practices. I don't even get to the murder board with this course. I go through the practices and they're just like tearing me apart. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know any of those questions y'all are asking because you're saying my course is built upon another course, but I don't know that one. So why are you giving me a course that's in 201 when I don't even know 101? How are you gonna give me a course in quantum physics when I haven't even taken physics yet? That's what it equates to. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in a class for Calc 2. I haven't taken algebra. So all of this shit is new to me. So when you're saying, what's this, what's that, and we're talking about autoimmune diseases, I don't know. That's not in this lesson. Oh, well, it connects to another lesson. Bro, I don't know that. So I had to have a sit down with the guy. I'm just like, bro, why did you give me this course? Oh, because, you got a degree. He was one of those people that felt like having a degree wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, you can't eat a degree. You can't, when you die, saying the degree doesn't mean anything. He didn't have one. And so anybody who has achieved any degree, I don't give a damn whether it's an associate's or whether it's a medical degree, that you put in work for that. Like they don't just give you that. So I think that was a little bit of animosity towards that. And then he was kind of like, because that's what I wanted to give you. Like, bro, that's not right. Like, that's not right. You're trying. I know you don't fuck with me. I know I don't fuck with you, but you can't sabotage me out the gate. Like, that's not cool. Like, I've never done anything to you. We just, our energies don't mix. But to sabotage me like that is kind of messed up. So I had to sit down and have a heart to heart with him because there was no rhyme or reason as to why. If I had said, why did you give me this course? Oh, because, I feel you can handle this. And then I was going to go into, this course right here. And I wanted you to be, well versed in this and to go in to this topic right here and then take over this. It was none of that. It was no plan. Oh, that's just, it's just the one I wanted to give you. What? Like, nah, man, we not doing that. Cause I didn't come here to be your fucking experimental puppet. Like, we have to have a plan of what class we're going to give people, especially me. Cause that doesn't make any sense. Especially when you're telling me this course connects to another one. Like, come on, man. Like, why shit like that? It's like, why do you have to do that? My career does not affect you. I didn't want to come to this goddamn section. So why are you making it seem like I'm in your way or you're going to show me? That's not cool. And so shit like that, you know what I'm saying, is always happening. So we eventually came to an understanding to give me a course in 101, Fundamentals of Immunology. Fundamentals. Damn, give me the building blocks to learn. So that one was the one that leads into the autoimmune course. Like, how fucking hard was that? Because you're trying to prove a point. I didn't lie and say I'm the greatest blood banker ever. Actually, I said I've never done it before. I don't want to do it, and I don't want to be in this course. I want it to be in micro. Y'all all know that. Y'all all know that. So then you're making my case even easier for me not wanting to be in blood bank by giving me some bullshit course that I don't know anything about. So I'm like, all right. So the fundamentals of immunology, I can work with this because it's just like teaching the first level of anything. It's basic, the fundamentals. So that gives me something that I can learn. So I can read this. Oh, what's this word meaning? And there's nothing else connected to it. The connection is after you learn this, you can now teach this back here. He wanted me to teach this back here and then learn this in front. Like, that's dumb, right? That's weak ass leadership. So fundamentals of immunology ended up being that was my baby. I was rocking that out. Like, that was my course. Anyway, back to my murder board. So when I'm instructing, I'm cool. I don't like to be in front of people, but I'm one of those people that's just like, I don't know. I just tune the crowd out. I don't like a whole bunch of eyes like looking at me in person. I do not like that, but I had to get over that because I asked for this, right? And so when I did the murder board with the team, I'm not a stutterer, so I don't use a lot of ums and ands and like I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't do a lot of that when I'm teaching. So I got through the intro. I'm going through the course and I'm explaining stuff that comes up. Like when words come up that could be difficult to understand, I'm explaining that, right? So I'm killing it. They start asking questions, I'm answering the questions. So I think I'm doing good, right? They start arguing like in the class. These are the instructors, right? So this is my official murder board. So they start arguing in the class, and I'm just like, hey, y'all know y'all got to settle down because they're supposed to be acting like students. This shit never happened in 3 years. They were acting like, oh, students might start fighting. That shit never happened. But they started arguing, and I was like, hey, everybody chill, everybody relax. They started throwing like paper and shit like that, and started saying like F you and stuff like that. They got like it was like 7 people in there. But they were getting like rambunctious, getting out of hand, and I was just shell shocked. Like I didn't say or do anything. I was just looking at them because I know that they were being extra, because that's what the murder board is about. And I was like, this would never happen. Like, so what are y'all doing? Like y'all not gonna fight. Y'all not gonna do anything. And so it was just like they started throwing paper, books, and stuff. They started like going crazy, wrestling and stuff like that. So it was just like, man, y'all doing too much at this point. But I wasn't saying or doing it. I'm just standing there like looking at them because I'm just like, this would never happen. Y'all are doing too much. So we got through the murder board because they were just going crazy. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not about to break up a fight. I'm not about to be like shouting and yelling and all that type of stuff. So we had two people like wrestling, and then they're yelling, like people are asking me questions and stuff. It was just like, what's it called? Sensory overload, right? And so I'm like, okay, y'all got it. y'all got it, right? How I murder boarded people was I would just ask questions. I'm trying to get you to stutter. I'm trying to get you to make a mistake. I'm trying to get you to say something that's false. So I'm just going with the questions. And so people fed off of my energy in the murder boys because that's what students do. What students do, you're going to have a student that comes in there. My daddy was a colonel or a general. My daddy was a cardiologist or something like that. You know, you get those type of students in there. That's so smart. You get people in there that have been lab techs before, that have worked in hospitals before, that have degrees from different courses, from different colleges. So you have people from all walks of life, but you're going to have the smart ass that comes in there. And so what happens is they're trying to show you up as an instructor. They're trying to show that they're smarter than you, that they know more than you do. And you just can't let that get to you, right? Because you know that that's what they're trying to do. And at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but trainee soldiers have so much power because all someone has to do is say that, you know, you made them feel bad or you did some shit and your ass is on the chopping block. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to walk on eggshells, but you definitely have to keep your profession, and you have to always cover your ass because, you know, they're trainees and no one wants a scandal with a trainee soldier. So they're going to believe what they say no matter what. But how I did my murder boards were I asked you questions. And once you get to like, nah, I got another question. Boom. And you say some shit that's false because, again, we know the courses and all of us have taught, we're teaching. So when we get a new instructor in, you go through all your courses. We know all of them. So it was probably like 10. Well, it's probably more than that. It's probably like 12 to 15 courses in blood bank in total. And so you're there for 3 years. You're going to end up teaching all of them. You teach some better than you teach others, but you teach all of them. So you know it. And no matter which one we give you as a new instructor, we're going to know what it is. So we've taught this before, so we know. And we know what students' reaction is. We kind of know where the hard part is. We kind of know what trips people up. So we're waiting on you to say something wrong. And because people have new guy energy and they want to one up the student, it always happens. Is that we get you to trip up and then we just go in. So we call it a murder board because your soul not literally, but your soul leaves your body. We basically kill you in that room. And then once you walk out of there, you are an instructor, right? You are in the fraternity of instructors. And yes, my spirit is still in one of those classrooms because they did it to me. But that's just the tradition. That's just kind of it's not even a hazing because it's a real thing, but that's just how we do it. We just like, this is your introduction to instructing. So yeah, the murder board is a really good thing. I think that once I was there, I left in 2018 and they started to like, motherfuckers were skating through. When I was on my way out, you know, I sat in a couple and it was just like, y'all not even testing this person. Y'all just letting them go. I was like, no, part of it is fun for the older instructors. But part of it is the new instructor getting something out of it. But you know, a lot of it is just us making fun of you and just giving you a hard time. That's kind of a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't hurt you. We're not embarrassing you. It's all your peers. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing that we're going to, it's not degrading or anything like that, but we just overwhelm you because I don't know. It's fun. It's a mean thing to say, but it's fun. You know what I'm saying? So I like traditions like that. I didn't like it when I was going through it. Like I was really annoyed, and I get it now. I didn't get it then because once you get on the other side and you get to do it to others, or you get to see it or you get to be a part of it, or you get to hear the plan before, you understand. But when it was surprising. They're just like, shut up, like, what you want to do? And then they start like wrestling. I'm just like, what are y'all like? What's going on? What's happening? And people were still asking questions like nothing's going on. So it's just like a lot of stuff happening. So I got there in May and I taught my first class in October because, again, even though I got there in May, you still get time to move into your house, and you have to go through these two, the CTC, cadre training course, and the instructor training course before you can go into the classroom. And so there's so many instructors down there because we have so many programs that I didn't get a class date for ITC until like August, right? So that's why it took some time. So it's not like you're gonna get these courses done within a week. Like, no, they're spread out because it's kind of like when you can get slotted for it. And then it's the schedule for learning your course too. So I taught my first course in, it was either October or September. It was one of those two. And then we were off and running as far as being an instructor. So the first year is just me learning my courses, me learning it inside and out. So no one can ask me a question about any of this. I'm researching like every word in there that I don't know what it means. So I'm looking it up. And so fundamentals of immunology, basically it's teaching about antigens and antibodies that we have in our blood and stuff like that. And it's just a building block to the rest of, blood banking. But that was my course. I killed it. I don't think I have the paperwork anymore. I think I got rid of it. So, but yeah, 2015 was really good. I was really happy with being an instructor because that's where our promotions come from. And it was something I think worked really well for me, just being able to teach others. So yes, we're teaching Navy, we're teaching Army, and usually they're anywhere between like 18 to 22. So they have 18 to 22-year-old problems. But at the end of the day, we're just instructors. So we're not supposed to get too involved into kind of what they're doing because they have people specifically, they have drill sergeants for that, the platoon sergeants for that. But people confide in who they relate to. So that was part of what we did as instructors too. But just being able to teach and being able to be around peers that were really professional, really looking to get promoted, really had history, like they've done different things. So they have stories to tell. We spent a lot of time where we weren't teaching because there's only like two of us teaching each day. We spent a lot of time just sitting and like talking, trading stories, just because we had a really well-rounded group. And even though I didn't want to go to blood bank, I did not want to go there. I can't tell you how much I did not want to go to that section. It ended up being the best section there. Just because we appealed to all types of learners. We were the best section for kinesthetic learning because we taught you in the classroom. Okay, A blood type, B blood type. This is what it is. This is what it looks like in the tube. And then the next day we would take you down to the lab and you would actually do it. So we appealed to the read writes. We appealed to the visual, the audio learners. And then we went down to the laboratory, put on our coats, and we actually did the hands-on. So we appealed to our kinesthetic learners. And we always got high ratings for our section because of that. Because we can say, we told you yesterday, when you add A and A, you're going to get a clump. And look at this. We added A. And what do you see? A clump. Oh oh my God, you're right. Like, yeah, motherfucker, we're not making this up. We're not making this stuff up. We're really teaching you. And so it's those teachable moments. Anybody who's an instructor, anyone who's a teacher and likes it, you like when students get it. When a student is really trying to understand, when a student wants to understand, and the light bulb finally turns on and they're able to kick it back to you and just be like, so what you're saying is like, if I do this, if it does this and it does that, we'll get this. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm good now. And so that's like a great feeling to have as an instructor. So I have 3 years of that. So that's 2015. I got down to be an instructor. Finally, I'm here in San Antonio instructing students. And yeah, I'm on the podium to end the year. So October, November, December, all I'm doing is I'm trying to learn as many courses as I can to get my classroom time up, because I'm new guy. So you got to use that new guy energy because it's going to run out. All right. So the older instructors that have been there, they're kind of on their way out. They've kind of done everything. So they're going to open the pathway for you to go in and do as much as you want to do. If you want to teach every day, and most people come in want to teach every day because they want to make that difference. They want to carry their weight. So it was as of 2015, is a really good choice that I made. We will get into 2016 in the next video. I will see y'all in 2016.